Hello, and welcome to the Gamer's Closet. I'm your host, Douglas Weed, and today we're going to be talking about Flash Gordon the Game. Flash Gordon the Game is a game manufactured by Waddington Games in England in 1977. The game seats anywhere from 2 to 4 players, runs for about 20 to 30 minutes of game time, and is rated for ages 8 and up. But let's dig into it a little further, shall we? The Flash Gordon game, also known as The Adventures on the Moons of Mongo, was released by Waddington Games in 1977. In this game, there are 6 moons circling the planet Mongo, the world ruled by the evil Emperor Ming. Whoever gains control of a majority of these 6 moons, that is 4 of them, will control Mongo. The object is to land 4 spaceships on 4 of the 6 moons. The first player achieving this objective is the winner of the game. If you're not familiar with Flash Gordon is the protagonist of a space adventure comic strip created and originally drawn by Alex Raymond. First published January 7th, 1934, and was inspired by and created to compete with the already established Buck Rogers adventure strip. The character was also released in the mid-1930s in several movie serials. It was released in 1980 as the Flash Gordon movie, and was also released as an animated television show in the mid-80s. This game has been released in multiple countries. It has been released in the United Kingdom as well as Canada. This game does come with multiple pieces. It comes with a playing board, 4 character cards consisting of Flash Gordon, Emperor Ming, Dale, and Dr. Zarkov, 16 tokens, 4 of each color in red, yellow, blue, and green, 2 green dice, and 1 red die. To set up this game, take 1 character card and keep it face up in front of you. This identifies the character you are playing. All characters play as equals in competition with each other. Take all 4 tokens of 1 color, place them on the start area of that character on the planet Mongo. Highest roll plays first, and then turn goes clockwise. On each turn, roll the 2 green dice. The count rolled must be used to move 1 of your spaceships, whichever you choose, the same number of spaces as you roll. When you are taking off from the start area, the first count will be on the space opposite the rocket. You do not need a special roll to take off. Always move only the direction of the rockets, which I will go over orbiting in a minute. If you roll a double, you may take another turn. There are 3 orbit paths on the board, pink, orange, and yellow. On each one, you can move only in one direction, the direction of the arrows, which go clockwise. Study the board before playing to be sure you understand the movement patterns of the orbit. If you want to change orbits, there are 2 kinds of crossing points where one orbit crosses another. The first of these is the red inner spaces near the planet Mongo, showing the arrows. Here you can switch from the orbit you are traveling on to another orbit if you wish. You don't have to land by exact count, just pass through to change orbits. Please note that by changing orbits at each red space, you can move more quickly around the planet when you want to get a ship into an orbit leading to one of the further moons. The other type of space is the outer double-colored spaces. Here you cannot change orbit by your own choice. Whenever a ship lands on or reaches one of these spaces, it stops. You don't need an exact count, but you lose any further count on your die roll. Now the player to your right immediately rolls the red die. If they roll an even number, 2, 4, or 6, you continue that ship along the same orbit you were on, and you immediately move it ahead the same number of spaces as the number rolled on the red die. If they roll an odd number, 1, 3, or 5, the ship will change orbit as it has been deflected, and you immediately move it along the other orbit the same number of spaces as the number rolled on the red die. When passing or landing, you may pass over a space containing another player's ship or your own. If you land on an opponent's ship, that piece must return to its start area on the planet Mongo and begin again. You cannot land on a space containing one of your own ships. You must make a different move or go a different way. However, if you have no alternative and must land on your own ship, which can happen only if you are deflected, the ship you land on must return to your start area and begin again. When landing on moons, you do not need to have an exact count, but the moon counts as a space, so you must have a high enough count to pass through the space opposite the rocket and onto the moon. Ships or more than one player may land on a moon. It is not necessary to be the first to land on a moon. The first player to have ships land on 4 of the 6 moons is the winner. Well, this has been an overview of the Flash Gordon game. The Flash Gordon game is a very well-built sci-fi adventure game. You have to move along a track to try to land spaceships on moons, but you have to deal with orbits and elliptical orbits, and then you can actually cause yourself to accidentally change orbits. So it has some very interesting mechanics to it for a game that came out in the 70s. The game itself is very easy to pick up, very easy to play. It's very kid-friendly. It's a very decent strategy game because you have to deal with where you land, and you may or may not inadvertently make other people move into different elliptical orbits, and this. So it can cause mayhem when you're trying to actually land on some of these moons. The game itself goes online anywhere from about $20 to $40, so it's not super hard to find, but as being a Waddington's game, they are a little on the rarer side here in the US because they are an English game company. You can find them online. I found this copy from a gentleman that was selling out an estate, and I scooped this one up. But like I said, if you really are interested in finding this game, it's not as rare as you might think, especially being a Waddington's game. The art on this game, it's very comic strip 1930s feel to it. It has that nice crisp drawn look from the 30s and 40s comic strips, and it's a very clean-cut, straightforward game from the 70s. The game came out right about the same time as the Flash Gordon movie, so it did get a little additional hype out of that, and it is, in my opinion, a very well-built game. It's very kid-friendly. Kids shouldn't have any problem with this. It's good for a family game night. If you want to break out something really weird on a game night with friends or family, this is a really good option for you. It's a good choice to teach kids how to do strategy games, dealing with colors. So I think as a family-oriented game, this game is a winner. That being said, it is a roll, spin, and movement game, but it does have a little bit more to it. So you may want to put in some house rules for it. You may want to put in a little extra edge, however you'd like to do it. But it has the bones for being a really good game. It's just modern gamers might want to add a little more to it. But that being said, if you haven't played the Flash Gordon game before, I would recommend playing this game. Like I said, I'm a fan of the art. It looks really nice. The board has that nice crisp look to it. It has very basic pieces to it, very basic rules. So it dots a lot of boxes in my book, being very easy to pick up, very easy to play, but can be complex if you have the right group. So if you haven't played the Flash Gordon game before, I would recommend playing this game. Well, that's it from us here at the Gamer's Closet. We'd like to thank you for checking out our video on Flash Gordon from Waddington Games. If there's a game in the future you'd like us to review or go over, please put it in the comments below. Please hit subscribe so that way you can be the first to check out our future content. And as always, please have a great gaming day.